Hey everyone, Mac is back. Today we're going to be talking about formations and specifically these commander formations that you have. I'm going to go over 6 different formations, including infantry when you have infantry, spear, or cav, one of the 3 in the front, and then of course either one of them in the back as well. And what commanders seem to fit. Everybody has different commanders, everybody has different levels of the commanders, so this is not a one-size-fits-all unless you have a maxed account, which the majority of us do not. So today I would like to start with an infantry spear formation. So my general thought on this and recommendation is that if you have, they're giving us 5 commanders, I would recommend at least 3, sometimes 4 for that front line or for that infantry. So they can buff that infantry because they have to take the damage, so make sure they have a lot of health and a lot of defense. Attack is not as important when it comes to that front line. Attack is always very important, whether it's total attack or buffing a specific troop. However, in this instance, you're going to want something to be able to absorb that damage, because if you can't have it absorb any of that damage, then it's going to take one little breath and your house of cards, so to speak, are going to fall over and you're going to lose it very, very quickly. So let's start off with the infantry. And so we want to have that, like I said, the health and defense for that front line. So if what I recommend is Chris, especially if you have him awakened at any amount, you want to have him in there. So if you just hover, you put him in here in your formations, and then you hover over him, you can see what the on the surface what his damage will be, which is the 30% attack infantry, which you're, like I said, you're not worried about as much. It's more that infantry health of 30%. And then you can see over here, he actually brings 15,000 troops to battle with him extra, so you add that on to your troop total. It used to be 11,000, used to be the max, but after they were awakened and then you use some of those books to upgrade them, he'll give you to an extra 4,000 in there, which is nothing to sneeze at. And then you can see the other buffs here. These are not what he brings, the total buffs. These are the buffs that the extra buffs I have. So if I hover, we're going to go with health because that's what you care about. You can see where all the other ones come from, all the other buffs come from. But the ones we're particularly worried about is the very bottom there. It says commander bonus, 34.5%. And that is what Chris at my level right now he brings to the table. So that's what you want for him. He'll be massively better than that once you get more stars on him, and I'm working on him. It just takes a while to get those tokens. So that's what you want to have. He's one of the ones that you're going to have up in that front line as well. And then second of all, you're going to have Seg. I have him fully awakened, so if you just hover over, you can see he does a 24% defense, which is what you care about more than the attack. But however, that total attack is going to buff that back line as well as the front, so you're going to have a lot of damage being done by having someone who has a lot of total attack as him. Now, if you see where the total attack here and you hover over, you can see he actually contributes with his passive skills, his hidden skills, of 43.3% total. So he's combining the 24% that you had initially to his hidden skills, and you're going to get that 43.3% for total attack. But again, what we're worried about more is the health. He gives 9.6%, and the total defense, which is a 43.3%. So he's really, really buffing that front line, which is very, very nice for him. You'd rather have the health. You'd rather switch that and have the health to be 43.3, but that's still a really nice bonus there for him. Now for that third commander, and when you're with infantry, it's interesting because you can go with a couple different commanders. It depends on who you have and how you have them upgraded. So if I had Andrea upgraded, she would be the one that I would want to put in here. I don't have her. I still have her in blue. But if you have her to gold, you want to have her in here because then she'll give you that 15,000, that extra 4,000 bonus as well. That's very interesting how that just changed. See, now this gives me all the bonuses that I have in here right now. I wonder what just happened. Very nice though. I like that. As you can see, these are the bonuses you're going to have total, so they can tell you what your infantry attack is, or your total defense and everything. So actually, I'm not sure that's correct. No, it can't be because we already looked over. Oh no, that's infantry. I'm sorry, that's not the total defense. Anyway, so that yeah, that's what's going on right now. So that's really nice. But so Andrea, once you get her up there, I believe she has like a 74% around there, 74, 76% health for infantry, and also on the attack portion of it too. So she'll help. She's pretty ridiculous when it comes to that. If you don't have her, for instance, like I don't, I only have her. Blue, then I'm probably going to go with Barrett. And the reason I go with Barrett is he's going to help buff the infantry health and the infantry defense. He gives 30% on both of those when you have him gold, and most people do already. So that's definitely where I would go in respect to that. And you have Feast here, he's got 30% defense and attack as well. So that's also really good. But again, you'd rather have a little bit extra of the health, the 30% health, compared to the attack when you're buffing that front line. If you want to go a little bit higher than him, a little bit better than him, then Sonara would be the recommendation, because Sonara is going to get you the infantry defense and health, which you want for that front line. It'll get you up to that 30%, which is really good, but they'll also give you that attack to help the total attack, which will help the front and the back line. So she's really, really good in that, as a tank in the front. Like I said, I would probably go with Andrea if you have her high enough as well. So in this formation, we're going with Spear in the second line. So you want the most attack you can possibly get. So if you have Gorell awakened, he is going to give you that Spearman attack of 66%, and that's what you care about. And then the second one, if you have Hector completely gold, then you're going to have him another 40%. So now you're looking at 106%. So another just huge advantage there. So yeah, as you can see, this is where I would go with the commanders. Next, you see there's extra bonus there that comes from Hector with a cav health reduction. So that'll help you as well. But this just shows you your basic stats, and you're bringing 71,000. It used to be that these were all 11,000, so you could get 55. But now, if you have them, you can. I have 4 of them here that are giving you 15. Plus, you're getting Hector will bring you the total of 71,000. And then if you add army buffs on side of that, the max troops now probably are going to be 2 million, I would believe, or over 2 million. But this is just pretty great that they're almost giving you 100,000 more. So now we'll go in that same realm. We're going to say the infantry cav formation now. So now, which cav commanders do you want in the back that are going to buff that? The 2 that I would look to for most of us would be Mango and Merrill. So we click on that, and you can say it gives me a 60% attack bonus from those 2 in the back. Now you look at other ones here. I mean, we compare. Russell gives you the 30%, so that would be fine too. These ones give you the extra ones just in case they get through that front line. You know, you get a cav defense of 30 there, and here you get cav health of 30. Just in case, they give you a little bit extra leeway there. If you have Leanna or Layla unlocked, or I'm sorry, gold, and just if you have them gold, then they're the 2 that you're probably going to substitute, because they're going to give you all of the buffs. And Layla will actually give you the total attack as well as the a defense. So maybe not as much here, but I think once you awaken her, she'll have her total attack will actually go up higher. So she'll be giving you around like 20-some%, I think, with total attack. So that'll actually be very good for the back, plus those the other passive bonuses she has as well. And then a few other ones here. You know, Enzo will give you all the cav ones as well. So if you have him up there, he would be worth it. But like I said, if you have to buff these up, you have to get them up there. And if you don't have them there, which most people have, Merrill and Mango gold, these are the 2 that I would recommend for that. So now we're going to look into having your Spear as your front line. So with Spear your front line, the ones that you're going to have, Gorell is actually a really good one to have there, because he has the 66% defense and also the 18% health. So just having him up there is good. I'm not sold on that. I mean, that's just having him completely awakened as well. So if you don't have him completely awakened, he might not be, he won't be as buffed as that. So one that I would look into is Miranda, and I don't have her up that high. You can see it's only 6%. But once you get her up, I believe she's she across the board, she's really, really good with the defense and the health. So she's buffing that. I believe for blue, I believe she's at 30% on both of those. So I think she'll give you that I'm sorry, yeah, right here, the health and defense, she'll give you that 60% total for both of those. So that's why I recommend her for sure. Annie is also another one, and I'll just pull out so you can see her stats too alone. You can see her, she's giving a total defense, so she's buffing that front really well. And that's with her only being blue. She's getting 15%. So imagine when she gets a little bit higher than that, we'll really be doing really helping it out. And then also the total health there, and then she does a little bit of spear health as well. So or that's what you want. I'm sorry, it was the total attack. So she'll use the total attack. She'll be buffing both the front and back line as well. For the total attack, the total health should be buffing that front line. So she actually is really, really good, especially if you can get her golden on awakened even more than what I have her. So those are the two there that I would recommend. And then the third one is going to be Drake, and I only have him green. I got to work up to that, but his are actually you can see here is he has a spear health, defense, and attack across the board. And the health, spear health and attack are 40% when he is at max level. So if you can get that, that'll buff that front line to be able to take on some serious damage. If you run into some infantry along the way, they'll be able to at least absorb some of that damage, and it won't be just going through them very quickly. So so those are the ones I would put in there initially. If you have them gold, I know I do not, so I would change this up. For me, I would probably put Garel in there. I'd probably have Arsalan because he also does a 30% health, which is really, really good as well to be able to buff that front line. And then I also have Hector, who has a 40% spear defense and then an enemy cap health reduction. And so you're primarily going to look at your gold commanders when you're making these formations. So like for me, I wouldn't even consider any of these ones. I mean, I even have Daenerys at blue, and trust me, she's not going any further than that because it's very, very expensive. But I mean, she only gets 5% across the board on total attack, health, and defense. And you know, as you all know, that the health and defense only do that front line. So I'm really only getting, I'm getting 10% for that front line and 5% for the rest of the attacks. So it's not really that good of a. She's not really that good of a commander when it comes to, if you don't have her upgraded to the 25% that she would have here across the board with her stats. So again, you're going to stick with Annie and Miranda and Drake for that front, and then for the back, we're gonna go with the infantry is going to be in your back this time. So the ones you're going to want there, now this can change too, but I mean, if you have Chris and you have him fully awakened, you're talking 60. I believe it's a 66% because he's the same as Garel when it comes to those stats. He'll have a 66% infantry attack, so that's what you want up there. And then for the next one, that can vary. Probably Seg, because if you've been playing for a long time, you probably have Seg gold, and you're probably getting you've probably awakened him because you know that he's pretty massive at this point, and he's getting you those really, really good totals. He's getting you 43.3% total attack, and as you can see with this one, with what I have here, which is actually not very good, I'm still getting 56.8% total attack in there. So very, very good bonuses there as well. And some might ask, well, why not Tyrion? I mean, Tyrion gives you that, he gives you total defense, total attack when he's maxed out at 15%. Well, he's at 15%. I mean, I'd rather have 30% in there, and okay, so he's buffing 15% defense. That's really not that good, and not really helping you too much. I'd rather add the attack in there instead from the back. And you could do, like I said, there are a couple other ones here, like if you had Andrea gold and awakened at all, and she'll give you extra troops in there, of course, the 4,000 extra troops, but she'll also give you the health and defense of that infantry. And I believe that both of them is 74%. So you're talking like 150% defensive stats with the health and defense in there. So that's really, really good. And that's just something to consider. And Rey is something to consider as well. If you move her up here so you can see a little better, she gives total health, infantry attack, and cav attack. So when you get to one of the infantry and cav formations, she'll be really, really good. If you have her upgraded as well, but she'll give the total health, so she'll give you some of that health in the front. But she's more of a backline when it comes with the infantry attack and the cav attack. So and of course this is what that is. So that's what I would do for that formation for the spear infantry. Now for the spear cav formation, you are going to want to put what we already talked about in the front line as well, which is Mango and Meryl. So you get that 60%. It should be here somewhere. There we are. Total cavalry attack 60% right there. So these two will get that 60% in the back, which is really, really good too. So make sure that you, if you have one of these, somebody else that's, as you can see, I don't have that many of them gold. If you have somebody else down here like Layla or Leanna or Layla, then those are the ones you probably want, or even Enzo's pretty good as well, because he'll give you the attack and, well, he'll give you the attack, I guess, but the other ones are good as well. All right, now we're going to go to the final two formations, and this ones they're going to have the cavalry in the front and then the spear and the infantry behind them. So let's start with that cav front. And that cav front, you're going to want to put Rob in there, especially if you have him awakened and any one of these stars. As you can see, I don't even have him awakened, and you can already see he's adding 4% or 4,000 troop size, which is really good. We're not caring too much about that cav attack, but the cavalry defense and cavalry health, that's what you're worried about. And so 34.5 for both of those, very good. They'll be able to absorb some damage. And the other ones, which I had talked about before, are Leanna and Layla. Again, you want to have both of those to gold if you can. You can see here across the board they're not that great. Both of them, well, you can see I have Layla bringing 11,000 and Leanna bringing 15,000. So they are bringing some troops there to help as well. However, you want to buff that front line more as much as you can. So for me, for instance, I would not want that. I would probably still stick with Rob. Gene only gives you the defense. Russell's going to give you the attack, and then you have Mango who gives you attack and defense, so he's probably be in there, and Meryl gives you attack and health, so that's be in there too. So this would be mine. So if I did this, you could see I'd have 64.5% defense and health, which is really, really good. That wall defense increase is absolutely nothing, but if you have the other ones available and you have them up to gold, that's what you're going to want there. Now for the spear attack, we've talked about this with the other formations. It's the same thing. You want to do the same type of thing. A Gorell in there and a Hector for me gives me 106% in that back line, which is really, really good. Now your question is going to be, well, what about Seg? I mean, Seg gives what? 43.3% total attack, right? Well, if we look at that, we actually probably want to take out Hector then, right, and put in Seg. Because if we do that, then we get, because Hector was given 40% attack just for that one line. Now Seg is going to give you that 40, well, it's buffed slightly here, but he'll 43.3% total attack. So he'll give it to the back line plus that front line. So Seg does have an advantage in that respect, that he will give you that extra buff for both of them. So like I said, Seg is probably going to be, if you have him gold in most of your formations, probably your Lord as well, because he's just everybody has him for the most part, and they'll have him to gold. And if he uses elite tokens instead of epic tokens, which are easier to get. So you're going to want that for sure. So this is the kind of that formation. I might even rather do this than have Hector in there. Hector also has that enemy cav health reduction, but if you're not fighting against the cavalry, then that actually doesn't do anything at all. So probably going to have Seg in there in that respect. And like I said, maybe some of these formations they're not perfect. Maybe you have Seg in every single one of them. There's some I haven't mentioned Seg at all. Because there's some of these other commanders that if they're awakened, then they're just so much better. And as you can see right here, and I'm going to say so much better, they're just a little bit better depending on which ones they are. But as you can see here, you're getting 71,000 extra bonus troops because they're all awakened. Well, they're not awakened. They can be awakened. The only one I don't have here is Layla, which I think she was just either Leanna or Layla. They just awakened recently anyway. So that's what I would suggest there, probably those two. And now we're going to look at see if you have infantry behind your cav. Again, you're probably going to want Seg there. If you have Andrea, Andrea's also really good too. And the reason I say Andrea is because if you awaken her, she's going to give you about 74% attack for those infantry, which is a pretty massive amount. As you can see, I only have her blue, so she wouldn't be one that I would have in there, but it's always worth it too. And we had talked about Ray before. or Ree. I'm not sure. Maybe it's Ree or Ray. I don't know. I'm just thinking of um, what was it? Was it Star Wars? Yeah, I think it was Star Wars. Anyway, yeah, it was Star Wars. We're Ray, but it's spelled differently, of course. But so yeah, that's what I would. That's where I would go with that. I would say that there's an infantry here, infantry and cav attack here, which is going to boost that up. And I think they might be 30%. I don't know. Maybe they're only 30%. But yeah, she's pretty good. And she gives a total health, so it'll actually give an extra buff to that front line. So these are the type of commanders that they're coming out with now, or they have come out with, that you really want to look into. So Sonara would be one that is similar to that as well. I'm not saying use her here, but she has a total attack there as well. Plus the infantry health and defense. Obviously, in this formation, you want to get more of attack with anything. So I wouldn't recommend having her up there. Probably someone else, like even a Chris wouldn't be if you had him completely awakened. He'll give you that 66% attack as well for the infantry. So just something you consider. You can keep messing with it until you find the right stats here. You look over and see what the maximum amount is based on what your formations are. So until next time, Mac out.